Princess Peach is so absurdly wealthy that her power eclipses the wealth of the world's largest nations combined. We're going to go over where her ridiculous wealth comes from, how she uses her toads to generate more income, and find the exact number of how rich she is. We've gone through the painful research describing just how wealthy some of the richest characters ever are, but now we have a true contender that just lives at a whole other level. Princess Peach is the absolute ruler of the largest and certainly the most abundant and naturally rich nation of her world, with the currency of the Mushroom World being the famous gold coin. That, while not exactly being made out of gold, because we actually have no idea what these things are made out of, are worth far more than their weight in gold. Converting the value of a gold coin to real US dollars, we find that 100 coins are equal to the value of one life, with the US government currently placing the value of a human life at $11.8 million, putting the value of a single gold coin at $118,000. And the Mushroom Kingdom is just littered with these things, but that doesn't really matter. In the past, we have gone over characters who own large companies within a nation, and much like we have to do with Princess Peach, we found these individuals' total net worth by adding up the cash value of all of their assets minus any liabilities that they owed. But while powerful, these individuals didn't own the entire nation itself. While this makes Peach's total assets astronomically higher, it also means that the sheer amount of money sitting around the kingdom in the pockets of every toad and selling off the cost of all of the buildings, while being a lot, doesn't add up to everything this princess owns. When it comes to the scale of a nation, any currency, whether it be a dollar, pound, or gold coin, is just a stand-in within that country to represent the wealth of an item, so the citizens don't have to barter with each other. Instead, they can use a currency that everyone has agreed upon. Basically, money is not wealth in itself, not for a person and certainly not for a nation. Princess Peach can't just make more gold coins to add to her treasury without driving up inflation and lowering the value of her gold coins. No, her wealth lies in the different goods that the Mushroom Kingdom produces that are exported out of Toad Harbor and in the citizens themselves, all of which make up the Mushroom Kingdom's and thus Peach's entire value, otherwise known as the kingdom's gross domestic product or GDP. Basically, the total value of everything the country produces and sells. While this number doesn't tell us the quality of life for a typical Toad citizen or otherwise what the welfare of the country is like, it is a measurement of cold hard cash that doesn't distinguish between food, medicine, and even the weapons that a country produces. And when calculating the wealth of Peach's kingdom, everything is going into this number, which includes the cost of the kingdom's infrastructure or the cost of building every physical house, park bench, car, floating block road, warp pipe transportation system, and coffee shop. Then the kingdom's geography, or rather all of the land within the country, and the value of the natural resources that land contains. And lastly, perhaps Peach's most valuable assets are her people, or toads. And oh boy, are these little guys worth a lot. When it comes to the Mushroom Kingdom's total wealth, its many Toad citizens are a big part of blowing up that number. This is in part because none of the kingdom's infrastructure, like its many hospitals, ATM machines, restaurants, cars, or warp pipes, would be worth anything if there wasn't someone around who actually needed to use them. More importantly, a nation's wealth is also hyper-dependent on its citizens because it needs its citizens to work, to actually produce the goods and services that it can sell to its other citizens, as well as the products that it can export to other countries and use to build itself and its infrastructure up. Anything a nation can build simply exists to aid the population in living, so they in turn can produce something of value for that nation, either by making something that can be sold for profit now, or by allowing citizens to research and develop new technologies that will make you more money in the future. Kind of like the Toads who invented the warp pipe and founded the Warp Pipe Corporation. And while you could easily whip your citizens into working longer hours and increase your country's wealth, that's not always the best way to go. If Peach and her Council of Toads really want to increase their wealth, it's within their best interest to invest whatever money they do make into making life better for their citizens by building better schools, war pipe systems, and all-around better infrastructure to support their population. So now, how much money does Princess Peach have? After spending hours researching how governments make money and what assets the Mushroom Kingdom realistically has at its disposal, no one else I've seen really can stand up to the might of Princess Peach. Keep in mind that in principle, the Mushroom Kingdom is currently a principality rather than a monarchy, but as the ruler and leader of the Mushroom people, Princess Peach still has absolute power over all of the kingdom's assets and decisions. All leaders serve for life, and there is currently no known civil way existing of how to get someone like Princess Peach to abdicate the throne, so everything we are about to say belongs to her. Within Peach's grasp lies nearly every natural resource she could want, from the kingdom's Great Plain region that contains substantial energy resources, from coal to uranium, oil, and gas, to numerous minerals for building and agriculture, to the kingdom's deserts that contain everything from copper, lithium, salt, certain vegetables, and is home to some of the world's largest mining operations in iron ore, gold, nickel, and precious gemstones. Then there's the Mushroom Kingdom's islands, where she has coffee beans, fish, and fruits. Their forests produce wood, paper, and valuable medicines. The kingdom's mountains give her an overabundance of fresh water for crops and livestock, along with the kingdom's tundra and volcanic regions that provide even more unique minerals and nutrient-rich land for farming. And to top off the list, Peach's Kingdom also houses some of the most valuable corporations in the world when it comes to the production of various goods, the shipping of those goods, and the creation of new technologies whose value all range in the trillions, boosting her kingdom's wealth to the moon. And it specifically helps the size of Peach's purse that nearly all of the kingdom's expenditures go directly towards developing the economy rather than creating a large standing army like some other kingdoms. If we were to calculate and turn all the Mushroom Kingdom's lengthy list of assets, resources, and production to cash to find out just how wealthy Princess Peach is, to get a realistic ballpark answer, we're going to compare it to its real-life equivalents. The Mushroom Kingdom houses tech and production giants like Moo Moo Milk, the largest milk producer in the world that, if it's anything like ours, would be prized around $115 billion. The kingdom also has the largest coffee company in the world that it produces and sells out of its Toad coffee houses, that, if like Starbucks, would be worth another $118 billion, with the kingdom's production of their natural coffee bean resource to back that up being around $160 billion. Then compiling the list of other companies that comprise the kingdom's hospitals and other infrastructure, they would total roughly around $450 billion annually from any potential taxes placed on the kingdom's companies. Then comparing the kingdom's GDP, or income from its many natural resources, and production of those resources to its equivalent countries, a country like the US that matches its sizable Great Plains and mountain regions has a GDP of $23.32 trillion. Japan and its islands sit at nearly $5 trillion, nearly half of the world's metal and steel industry that the Mushroom Kingdom produces is valued at $400 billion, and smaller coffee-producing islands like Java are around $11 billion, with any remaining similar countries throwing in an extra $10 billion here and there. Putting this all together, along with the money made from the Mushroom Kingdom's corporations, we find that Princess Peach has nearly $30 trillion of assets and resources at her beck and call. But all of this is not including the Warp Pipe Corporation, a corporation that has invented a technology so obscene, so improbable and magnificent that it has dominated transportation throughout the Mushroom Kingdom and has spread its creation to other friendly kingdoms like Daisy's Sarasaland and throughout most of the Mushroom world. That being so far ahead of its time, it has replaced cars, trucks, trains, and literally almost every transportation industry on the planet, being a much faster and cost-effective solution that doesn't include warfare, that its value, much like Iron Man's suit, is just astronomical. But if we had to put a price on it, the nice round price of this dominating invention and company would be nearly $15 trillion, more than the value of nearly every kingdom or country on the planet, giving Peach a hefty $45 trillion of play money each year. But if none of this was very interesting, then I saved my most interesting fact for last. As important as natural resources are, the thing that can really bring anyone like Peach unfathomable amounts of wealth is the creation of new technology, with technology like Tony Stark's Iron Man suit being worth far more than the value of entire kingdoms put together. So check out this video if you want to see exactly how much wealth Tony Stark has. See you in the next one.